Welcome to Conversations That Matter. I'm your host, Alex Newman. Thanks for joining us today. With us, a very interesting guest. He was the sheriff of Mineral County, long career in law enforcement. He served as a probation officer. He was a deputy sheriff. He was many things. He was in the Nevada Highway Patrol, and it comes from a law enforcement background. He had a secret clearance from the government to serve at a sensitive facility. And so, he's been around law enforcement all his life. And he found out about this interesting story, allegations that an elderly woman was being abused. And a lady whose work I've followed for a long time, she's an investigative reporter, Janet Phelan, wrote about this case. And when she says something, I take it very seriously. So with us today, we have Stewart Handte. He is, again, the former sheriff of Mineral County, and he got involved in trying to, as they explain it, rescue this lady who is allegedly being abused in a care facility. And now the law enforcement is coming after him with a vengeance and really trying to just completely destroy him. Stewart, thank you very much for joining us. Why don't you tell us your version of the story? What happened here? How did you get involved in trying to get this lady out of the facility? And what are the charges against you?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Newman. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you and your listening to you and audience this afternoon. I got involved in this back in mid-2019 when I ran into Mr. Roger Hilligus in the attorney's office. He was there on an unrelated matter. So was I. We began talking, introduced ourselves to each other. He asked me about how to take care of a traffic citation up in Story County where I've been a deputy sheriff. And I said, just go pay the ticket. Don't fight it. And then we started talking about his mother. His mother, according to him, was being abused and neglected in an assisted care facility in Northwest Reno. And we exchanged phone numbers because he was dealing with some other matters, as was I. And so the following day, we contacted each other. I believe he called me. And we subsequently met at my house. He showed me pictures of his mother with a black eye and disheveled clothing. And he had documents from an organization called We the People that gave him a jury verdict, which allowed him to remove his mother from the assisted care facility, which I think any son or daughter would want to remove their parent from the assisted care facility if there was allegations and substantiated evidence of being abused and neglected. So I told Mr. Hilligus, I go, look, I said, I'm not law enforcement anymore. Basically, I had just lost my last job there. And I said, but I'll do this. I'll try and set up a meeting with you and the chief of police at the Reno Police Department, Chief Jason Soto, and you go down there, present your documents, and let him take it. It's their agency, it's their jurisdiction, and it's their wheelhouse. So I left a message on Chief Soto's cell phone. Then I got a phone call from Commander Oliver Miller, now Deputy Chief Miller, and he asked me what I wanted to do. I said, Oliver, I said, all I want you to do is sit down with the gentleman. I'm not going to do anything. This is your jurisdiction. This situation is taking place in your neighborhood or your wheelhouse, so to speak. And I says, there's allegations of abuse and neglect. And again, Roger came over to my house with pictures of his mother. She had a black eye and her clothes were disheveled. That would indicate to me at least something was going wrong there. And so he talked to Mr. Hilligus. Mr. Hilligus and a third gentleman who's never been charged in this event, and I'm going to leave this name out of it, went down to the Reno Police Department. They did not meet with Oliver Miller. They meet with a sergeant who said, quote unquote, it's a civil matter. We're not getting involved, but why don't you go up to the facility and see if you can mediate this thing out? Which is exactly what took place. I met Roger up there, and I told Roger, I go, look, you present the document. We present the documents. If there's any problems that arise from that, we back out and you guys go a different route. So we went to the facility early in the afternoon of August 8th, 2019, assigned in appropriately, Stu and Gus being a nickname for Roger Hilligus, Stu being short for me, to see Susie, his mother. She always liked to be called Susie, Roger said, because it made her feel young. This lady was in her mid-80s. So we got in there. He presented the paperwork. An attendant took Roger down the hallway. Back up the hallway came Roger and his mother with his Alex. To see the look in her face was priceless. She was just so enamored with her son, which he said he wanted to take her out of there. And he introduced me to her. I talked to her. She looked at me as puzzled. She didn't know who I was. And I said, she goes, no, I don't know. Are you one of Roger's friends? I said, yes. And I said, do you know who this man is right there? She says, well, that's my son. And Roger looked to his mother. She goes, Mom, do you want me to take you out of here? He goes, yes, please. I want to add something in here right now. When we got into that secondary screening area, a lady approached me and grabbed my arm. She was crying. And she says, can you please help me? I said, ma'am, what's wrong? She goes, I want to get out of here. She said, I hate it here. It's horrible here. I said, ma'am, I can't take you out of here. She goes, I'm not asking you to take me out of here. She says, I will ask you to open the back door and I will go out the back door. I know where my house is. And Alex, she was crying. And boy, there's some attendants came over and took her away from me. But that really, it's sears in my memory. Anyways, Roger and I took his mom out the facility, across the parking lot, across a busy street to his car. She got in her car and she waved goodbye to me, not knowing she was to her doom 2 months later. Later that evening, I received a phone call from Oliver Miller. Basically state, do you know where Roger Helgis is? I said, Oliver, I believe he's on his way home or at home. Well, we have a problem. He kidnapped his mother. I go, wait a minute. How can a son kidnap his mother? We have permission to take her. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. I go, but wait a minute. Did he not go to your police department earlier in the day and you discussed it? And apparently you told him it was a civil matter that you guys weren't getting involved. He goes, well, now it's a criminal matter. I go, oh. And he goes, and you're involved. I go, are you accusing me of kidnapping? He goes, I'm not accusing you of anything right now. Well, that evening on the 11 o'clock news, it was all over. Silver alert, Roger Helgis, armed and dangerous, access to guns, mother needing life-saving medication, took her without permission. All of it lies. Roger was not armed and dangerous. Roger did not have any guns. Mrs. Hilligus did not need life-saving medication. She was on anti-anxiety medication. And he took her out of there because she was not a patient. She was a resident. And residents are allowed to leave with relatives whenever they want. So that turned into a fiasco over the weekend. Subsequently, on Monday, I contacted by the Reno Police Department detective units, wanted to interview me. I'm skipping over a lot of stuff here because we only have a short period of time. They interviewed me beginning at my house on Tuesday, and then we went to a coffee shop because my wife was coming home, and I really apologized to her to the day I die that I didn't tell her what happened. I wanted to keep her out of it. I didn't think this was such a big deal, but it turned out to be an extremely big deal. That afternoon, my cell phone was seized by force and threats because I tried to explain to the cops interviewing me that everything could be explained via text messages. They took my phone. Basically, they wouldn't allow me to leave the coffee shop with my phone. So Miranda should have applied right there, but they didn't do it. They would give me my phone back the following day. Again, I'm skipping over a lot of stuff because later that afternoon on August 14th, while I was back at my attorney's office trying to figure out how he's going to go to some job interviews and a job fair at a local casino, and went out to my car to get paperwork when I was taken down by tactical operations units at gunpoint. 4 guys to the front, 2 guys from behind. The 2 guys from behind got to me quicker than the 4 from the front, fingers in the trigger guard. And basically I was taken down with excessive force. They hurt my back, which still has not recovered to this day. And I was taken up to Par Boulevard eventually after I was at the Reno Police Department by them trying to find out where Roger was by giving my phone back and then subsequently taking it away again. I was booked into the jail on 3 felony charges: kidnapping of a second-degree kidnapping, conspiracy to commit second-degree kidnapping, and kidnapping of a protected person. And that's where this whole nightmare began.
Wow, that's amazing, Stewart. And Janet has looked into a lot of these. She's got the article about this at the Activist Post. And again, I've followed Janet's work for a long time. She's a good reporter, crosses her T's and dots her I's. And she was looking into this judge here, and she found some very concerning things. She emailed him and some very suspicious financial things. $700,000 here, paying it back a year later. And Janet's asking, where'd you get all that money? How'd you pay that back on a judge's salary in 1 year? No response is what she says. And so what's the status now? So you're still being prosecuted. Obviously, you're not in jail right now, but what are they trying to do? What are they alleging? And what do you think should happen?
Well, first of all, I want to go on record by saying law enforcement and the district attorney's office and the judges are corrupt. I've got cops lying in police reports. I've got false documentation providing official court documents to the court. And I've got judges being biased, prejudiced, and extremely inflammatory against me. That being Judge Breslow, and I believe we have another judge involved, Tammy Riggs, possibly a 3rd judge, Scott Freeman. Then we got Washington County Deputy District Attorney Amos Stagey, the District Attorney of Washington County, Chris Hicks, and various members of the Reno Police Department and Washington County Sheriff's Office. I'm going on record by saying they are corrupt.
What's their motive here, Stuart? I don't understand. Just walk us through, why would they want to do this? Are they tied to this facility?
They are tied to a long-standing cabal. I'm not going to call it the Good Old Boys Club because there's no Western folksy persona about them. It's the cabal. And the cabal I've stood up against for many times in my law enforcement career, because my dad told me to serve and protect, not to self-serve and take advantage.
Yeah.
I was threatened with my career as a state trooper of the Nevada Highway Patrol on 9/11 of 2001, of all days. I was a federal whistleblower. I blew the whistle on Director of Department of Public Safety, Richard Kirkland, and he came after me. These people are all connected, Alex, and the cabal is behind this. Some are in power, some are not. Some are shadow players behind the scenes. And I believe they're all connected. They finally got me in a place where they could get me, and they've come after me with a vengeance. They've disobeyed federal law. They disobeyed state law. They disobeyed rules of the court. And I have been arrested a second time because I didn't want to wear a GPS monitoring device, which, come to find out, is unconstitutional under United States Supreme Court ruling Grady versus North Carolina. But guess what I'm wearing right now? A GPS monitor. That's the only way I could get out of jail. I tried to go to a city east of Reno to find out what these were capable of. I was taken down again with excessive force January 19th of this year by no less than 10 cop cars. I was placed in the Elko County Detention Facility for 7 days, transferred to Washoe County Detention Facility with $100,000 no cash or cash bail only bail on my head by Judge Breslow. So this was extreme overreach of a bail. It was ludicrous. And so the only way I could get out of jail was to put on the monitor. I have it on now. It's caused me health issues in both my legs. I believe it's also caused me additional health issues. But these people don't care. They are evil. They are corrupt, and they are destroying the fiber integrity of this community. And when it comes to the legal system that's present here, it's absolutely mind-boggling. It really is. And like I said, you would think that people that are out there in these positions of law enforcement, district attorney, and judges would be fair and equitable and not biased. Far from it, just quite the opposite.
Wow, there's some really serious allegations, Stuart. So where does this go from here now? Do you have a court date for the prosecution?
Well, they were trying to push me into court on November 14th. This is prior to my co-defendant, Roger, who had been on the run since February of this year, who just recently got arrested on October 3rd on a fugitive warrant in Kansas City, Missouri. They're trying to push me into. I've had 3 attorneys. I've had to get rid of all 3 attorneys for not doing their job. I guess I missed that part in the work ethics class 101, where you pay an employee to do a job. They don't do the job, but you keep the employee on anyways. That's not the case. I'm now representing myself with the assistance of Mr. Scarlatus, and Ali Carino is listening in here. They've been very helpful. Jen Phelan has been absolutely a gem, helping me out in certain areas. But these people are on the vindictive path to destroy my life. And they pretty much almost got away with it. I've lost my marriage over this. I've lost a very tenuous relationship with my daughter. I've lost friends and colleagues that I worked with. I lost job opportunities, lost my house. Most difficult, I lost one of my pets because she died when she was away from me. And to that, there's really no price tag you can put on that. They've taken everything away from me, Alex, except the existence of my life.
Wow. It's tough to hear, Stuart. Well, I hope you'll keep us updated on your case. This is very significant. Again, you're a man who spent pretty much your entire career in law enforcement, serving and protecting. And it's just wild story to hear. And for the folks out there who aren't familiar with Janet's work, she has been very doggedly pursuing these cases of elder abuse. And what she has found is that whenever somebody comes after these people, whenever an attorney gets involved, they'll disbar the attorney. That they are just absolutely relentless in protecting this little empire that they build, because there's so many people getting rich off of this process, so many people making a lot of money. And when somebody comes along and rocks the apple cart, a lot of people get upset. Well, Stuart, I want to thank you for sharing your story with us. Again, Janet did reach out to the judge in this case and ask questions. Nobody responded to them. The law enforcement there, the district attorney in Washoe County, they deny any vendetta, according to the chief investigator, Michelle Bays. That's ridiculous, asking whether there's a vendetta against Mr. Handte here. But Powerful story. Stewart, please keep us posted. Let us know how this goes. And if appropriate, we'll get you back.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate the opportunity. And thank you, Matt, Ali, and Janet. Thank you all for being behind me. And yes, we'll give you an update when time permits.
Thanks a
Very
lot.
good. All right. Thank you, folks, for tuning in. I'm Alex Newman. This is Conversations That Matter. Until next time, God bless you all.